Okay, so it's just after midnight, and I'm totally in this most uncomfortable, awkward position. Max has got the chair, and I don't know, it just I'm so uncomfortable. I couldn't even sleep. I was so uncomfortable. And then Stella was being uncomfortable, and then I was like, oh my God, I bet you it's not even going to be like the next day yet. And then, no, it was like 11 o'clock. I was like, oh my God. And a lot of these days, too, when I get up and, God, it's totally differently when you just move. Oh, and I washed my hair yesterday, so then it's like totally moving different. And it doesn't stay out so much. It doesn't have so much body up here. Like, it's always so much more flatter. So it always drives me crazy. So, anyways, I'm sure I'm gonna mess with my hair a lot. Let me think for a second, because there was so many things, and it was so many different angles, and so one of the things is all this. I'm gonna try the garlic thing today. Is the sneezing and all this congestion, and then I think when I'm laying down too, and it gets all in my eyes, but this total uncomfortable, and I don't know if, I mean, there's supposed to be all this energy coming onto the planet with these solar flares and stuff. The Schumann thing is going crazy. The people are going crazy, and supposedly 2,700 have already done themselves in over this. And you asked the question is like how can this be happening? And I was thinking about, so like to me, the kind of like the emotional roller coaster of it, which last night when I was thinking about it too, when they brought me back to that ride that they had taken me to, where I felt the emotions and stuff, and it brought me right in it. Like what we are going through is that um it's this emotional thing. Like there's an emotional purge, but they're so deep, they're so real, and it's so trippy. But that is where we have to, as souls, to completely just like acknowledge this is a totally different reality, even though it's created. But we were all living in that created reality, but they are living in this completely manufactured reality. And so at first, because I want to go all the way back, because it kept seeming like that we weren't going to have an election. It just kept seeming like, I mean, it's just this weirdest energy, and it keeps seeming like anything can fall apart at any second. And but it's trippy because it's like it's going back together. Maybe we did already have the flip. No, it's still coming, because it's something with the solar flash, and even the media and the government or something is trying to talk about it, dropping all these hints. So there's still this thing that I saw some science news person or something calling it something. And they're saying about this zombie moon thing. Like there's a ton of stuff going on. I think it's going to have something to do with the sky. It's going to have something to do with first contact, probably. It's going to be, because the Hopi Indian, their thing, because there's a few of their different ones, and I'm sure that they're also the ones who talked about the time of mirrors. But that could be the mind. I don't remember, but I think it was the Hopi talking about the time of mirrors. This is the time that we're going into, because right now it is like people are seeing people for the other side. People are seeing sides of people that they didn't see before, and so it's like this. Full view. There was something else about that I was seeing earlier, so I was trying to see if that was popping into, but it wasn't. It probably will, because it was kind of really interesting how something was shown to me earlier about it. But anyways, so the so to me, at the start of all this stuff, like there was some weird energy stuff, and I don't remember. Like I'd have to go back and listen to all those videos or whatever to kind of mark or pinpoint, what was happening. but there was a definite like shift, like that felt like the energy shift. It felt like that we were going super fast, and then it felt like a shift, but I don't know. It felt like it was like going outside and it being really dreary, and then all of a sudden I went outside and it was like bright and sunny and everything was sparkling. And it was like, man, everything seems so different. And so there was some period of time like that. And I don't think it's like this time, like we're all timeline jumping and stuff like that. If we're timeline jumping and shifting around like that, it has probably something to do with CERN, and has probably something to do with the hologram kind of situation, their control. And it will be something that we'll start finding out about or something. It just seems like it's like our consciousness letting go of the mental trap. I think why it keeps seeming like things are shifting and this and that. It still trips me out. Like Marianne Williamson, she's one of the people out there who's just being mental. And it is so fucking weird to me, because to me, in my reality, this reality is, there's so many weird things about this, different realities playing out. Okay, I can see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's like a funhouse mirror of realities. Like we're all down here playing out these realities, and it's like this funhouse mirror of realities. But then when this shift started happening on the planet, it was like we had to align all of our mirrors. It's like all of our mirrors all of a sudden had to go, oh man, that gives me a wave, a chill. So all of our mirrors, oh wow, yes. That's what has to do with the healing. Oh my God, that is emotional. Fuck. Because we have to turn our mirrors and face in. Oh yeah, that thing about the good and the bad. Like this is a part where we're seeing, like if you thought somebody was all bad, you're seeing the good side. If you thought somebody was all good, you're seeing the bad. Like the seeing these sides of people that you don't see. But there was something more about that I was interested in. But sometimes like your mind will go in, you're just like going all over seeing this stuff, and then you start talking about it, it's like, oh, it wasn't that interesting. But anyways, it was interesting how they were showing me that though. But so the mirrors all have to turn inward. And there has to be a time of reflection where we look at our society, we look at our roles in our society, and that is what creates change. And that is the hard part, because so many people don't want to look at themselves. And so that is why it is so challenging, but it has to happen. And this isn't even the big amount of people who are going to be doing themselves in. There's going to be a lot more. And it's going to get a lot more intense. So the mirrors shifting to go inward. And so that is where these some different realities. So we're all out there living our own reality, and for the universe, it's like a fun house of mirrors of all these different realities in all these different positions. And then somehow in the one where I was, Marianne Williamson was the one who wrote Celestine Prophecy. She was real spiritual. She was very, I didn't keep up with all of that stuff at a certain point. I indulged heavily in certain information for a period of time, and I found a peace, and I found a direction, and I understood my purpose more. Not my full-on purpose, but I understood the purpose of learning and growing through the things that were happening in life. But it didn't mean I didn't get beat down. I was drowning in problems. I had so many issues all the time. And it was like I could never get out of the fucking quicksand of issues in relationships and stuff like that. And I had no idea at the time, that I was making waves and looking at things differently, and I put people off, or my energy, or whatever. Like I didn't realize that until, as I've been going through this and learning more about our energy and our frequency, and especially when you have all these people who are in the dark and they have that frequency and they're very comfortable looking at things in a very dark way, which is playing out like how these people are looking at things. And there's no way to reason with them. They are very trapped in this reality that is created. And it has to do with the Handmaid's Tale and stuff. But anyway, but when we go back, there was all these people, because I kept thinking there's something weird about this election. And like I wasn't, because the whole thing is this is like all exposing stuff, and knowing that he already is, he has been this whole time and stuff, and that they aren't, like, there's a lot of weird stuff about this whole thing in the playing out. So it's kind of like it's going, and then it's all of a sudden these cards are going to fall so we can see the truth. And it's trippy because I think a lot of these other people are picking up on that, but they keep thinking that this is going to be to expose that Donald's a bad guy, and she's come to save us. And when you hear some of the stuff these people say, some of you guys might have followed these people all along. Now that I'm seeing some of these videos and stuff, it's so fucking mental. And these people obviously don't know how to read energy. They can't tell the difference between the light and the dark. And so, and some of it is fucking basic. Like, Jesus Christ, his is so expressive of unity, community, love, happiness, gathering and stuff. And hers is so expressive of anger, bitterness, fear. And that is what they have got built so much in these people, because they linked somehow with the Handmaid's Tale in that, with the 20, and then you put that 2 and the 5 at the end of that. Then they have linked that, like, I can't even tell you how many videos I've seen of this. Men too, it's not just women. And I am so fucking goddamn sick of this feminist movement. It is such a fucking, it's a dog wag of the tail, man. It's some fucking bullshit. And these people are all in there fighting for something that's not even real. I was thinking about, what the fuck are we fighting for? Like, we can vote, we can walk around freely, we can work. Like, we have freedom of choice and stuff. So what is this that we have this movement about? Like, it's the same thing as putting all these letters up and saying, oh, you need acceptance. Let's group together and accept each other. And I don't even know. Like, it's such an agenda, and it's so divisive. And these people who sit back and call themselves psychics and astrologers and stuff like that, and say that they look at that as like this positive movement. In their reality, okay, sure, it's a positive movement out of something else, and they are moving into caring about something or someone or something. I don't know. To me, I see darkness, and I see there's going to be a lot of jumping ship. And I see it's like the purging of the darkness. I see this as being a lot of deep past life stuff. And these women, it's very deep stuff coming up, and they'd have no idea where it's coming from because they're all lost spiritually. So they are just emotionally wrecked. They're falling apart. Like, the exhibit of insanity is, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's like, oh God, no wonder like females get such a bad rap. Like, is this what you guys act like when things go wrong? Is this what you act like with your husbands, your boyfriends, when at work? Like, I saw one woman in a Walmart or something, and a guy, like, she cut him off in the line where you pay, where you do it yourself, not the cashier. So he's waiting in the line, and this girl's standing there, and when it opens, and she just goes. And so he says, hey, what are you cutting me off? I was here first. She loses her mind and starts saying that she was just raped, and this man is making her scared. It's causing her, whatever they say. They have these key phrases. Then it's causing her whatever, anxiety or stress or something. No, it wasn't even that much talk. It was like, it's so much screaming too. It was so much of a child. So much of somebody who has no control over their emotions or anything, and no humility. just losing her mind and totally in front of everybody, like a little child. It's like, but, and you know, one thing I noticed a long time ago was about how certain emotions can take you over and make you do certain things, that when those emotions wave out, that all of a sudden you have a completely different perspective. And the things I noticed, those that come up on, was sex. I definitely noticed that about sex and about anger. And that you would feel so much vindictive, like you would feel this huge thing when it's set off, and however long it takes for it to dissipate. Because when I was in a really toxic relation, well, I was in a lot of toxic relationships, but the one I was in for the longest, um I started realizing so much. I don't know all the stuff I realized. I mean, there was like, I'm sure different times, all different things. But anyways, when I'm thinking about this or looking at it or whatever, is that when I would, but I know I realized this stuff back, is like I would get so furious, and then I would lose my mind, you know, like I'm getting a divorce, I'm moving out, I've got to get away from you, you're crazy and stuff like that. And then this is how these cycles keep going. But there would always be where once those emotions had kind of withered away, so it would take, I don't know, a couple days sometimes, and the emotions would go down. And that's when they start romancing you back and, oh, they're so sorry and stuff like that. And then you don't have that. That's the same kind of thing with childbirth too. Like when women go in and do it, it's like, I'm never doing this again. But then you get away from it a little, and then you don't have that same thing, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it again. And so it's just that, like, these certain emotions and stuff can take us, but when we're not riding them, we have a different perspective. And so sometimes it has value to wait it out. Just, you know, hold on to your anger, not hold on to it, but don't express it in a way towards somebody else, because then you end up having regret over the things that you did or said. And so it's best to manage it and to sit with it, and to it's really important too, is to kind of decipher it. What is that? I'm seeing it. It's like, what do they do that with uh like in nursing school with it's called dissecting. Yeah. Did I already say that? Well, anyways, that was what I was seeing. Like dissecting something. So anyways, it's like, you know, dissecting yourself, your behavior, trying to understand yourself and look at all of these little things. And you don't just have crazy reactions. You have reactions that have a trail inside of you. They come from somewhere. That's why I say you got to go backwards in the trail. You got to find your way back to the source. Find your way back to the nucleus. Yeah, there's this word source has been coming up a lot. And I think that people have to realize, like, yeah, the source is like the nucleus. It's not just like, because I think a lot of people jumped onto that as like the source is God and God is source and stuff like that. But it's like when it's like the rollback, where something starts is the nucleus. It's the source of that energy. It's where that energy it comes from. And when you talk about the heavens and the universe and the earth, and or the earth is just a little tiny sand dust thing, but when you talk about a soul, like our real life, our the heavens and stuff like that, that is like the souls and the heavens come from a nucleus point or something, where you would call there was a source. There's like a place where the bang came from, the big bang of energy came out of the spark. So that would be the source, but what came out of it is all of us. So all of us if we all went in reverse and went backwards, we would go back and go back into this source of energy. But it is, there's lots of different expressions like that of these Big Bang kind of things. So it's kind of like realities or something are created all the time. And if I were to think about a new soul, I would say Archie is a new soul. That is who I would say. He's out for fun. He's out for mischief. He's out for experience. He's all over the place. He is a wild, like, he's like an energy that hasn't tamed itself at all. Like, so that's who I would say, like, when you talk about a new soul, it's one that is like, fuck yes. So, and I think an old soul is a lot more experienced, is a lot more weathered, has gone through a lot of pain, and it's not going to be, I don't know. I think that it's not like they've given up on life or something, but it's like the difference of, you know, a young brave and an elder. It's like, it's like the difference too in the, when I said, when you tune into those energies, the one that is like the higher mind is the one that's the quietest. It's the one that's the most peaceful. It is like the Indian chief, you know, sitting in the teepee. He's not going to go around chasing people, trying to get them to listen to him. He's going to sit there, and when they come to him, he will explain. And that is the difference of becoming like an elder, is like the same kind of expression as an older soul. I mean, so it's a piece that I think that you develop throughout the different experiences. So anyways, but the difference in old souls and new souls and stuff like that, like, we've all been around billions of years, so it doesn't really matter. We're all experienced souls. Even if a soul is a newer soul to come into this kind of experience, then it is, that doesn't mean it's, you know, not a really old, like a really, you know, super old, because I don't know how long it takes for an energy to understand itself and begin to try and become itself, where it starts like that. I love that where Matthias de Stefano said, you go into the heavens, the highest vibration is so void of everything, void of all things, that when you all of a sudden understand, when you all of a sudden have a feeling of self, that is when you ask the question, who and what am I? And that is when it's like, that is the birth of a soul. That is where the soul goes out to find who and what am I. And that would be kind of like just certain souls, because there's some souls that have been, are old, ancient souls, like way, like I said, there's different kinds of pop, you know, of things popping off. And that is where there is like this merging of realities, even in the heavens. But so on here, so we are going through this time. I think that's what creates like this Mandela effect and all these things, because there's all these different realities that are all of a sudden shifting to become one reality. And that so you gotta think of it as all these souls here just like in their own dream, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, you're here, oh, okay, let's all go into the same dream. And so it's that, but see, that's where we have to all be in agreement on what it is we're creating. And that is where we line up through our vibration, through our energy. And that is where a new reality is created. And it is like an agreement between all the souls involved that go into that vibration. And so it's those souls, the ones that are going in to create this new world, you know, as well, they're always going to do it and stuff, but it's like that they're going into it as their as a vibration. It's a certain vibration. And that is what, you know, this whole thing of being able to look at yourself and be able to heal the wounds and stuff of the society and our choices, and to understand the evolution of man and what it means to the universe and the expansion of the being and the new possibilities of existence in realities, and the combination of the contact of being able to expand in the intelligence or in the knowing of um, more information. There's going to be a huge expansion of the information. That was one of the things that this more thing that I heard on this other Hopi thing was that there's going to be this first contact thing, and that when they come, this guy was saying it's gonna, and this was old, that there's gonna be kind of like trials, and that it's going to be kind of like the other beings, because they're all spiritual, and they are going to be involved. And see, this is about spirit, like I've said. This is about people realizing their own darkness and stuff. And so, and it's also of the crimes against the planet. And so there's supposed to be some kind of trials or something, and we're going to be divided into 4 groups, he said, and some people are going to just be gone, taken or something. They won't be allowed to go forward on here. So it's only going to be ones that will go forward are the ones that are in, like I said, in like harmony with the planet, who want to live in harmony with the planet. I don't know how else to express it, but it is it's like a handshake with the planet, like we're going to be there for each other. And so that energy, that vibration, that is going to be the only one that goes forward onto the next phase of the age of Aquarius, whenever this goes down. But so like how I was seeing it, so okay, so I go back to leading up to the election, and then it seeming like everything seems so weird and so off about this. And so then, like, what I was witnessing was, because I wasn't indulging, I was just witnessing or observing. And so I had witnessed or observed, Donald's, well, he would be live in the morning and he'd be live at night, and he was live all day long, going from place to place to place to place. And so he was really out there. He was driving that energy. He was bringing it in where, to the observer, or to, because a lot of people become the observer in a certain area when they become of interest. And so that was why there had to be so much that was built up of all the things wrong over the last couple of years, because that was driving so many people to wake up and look in a certain direction. And so that is so he was out there, for all the people as it was getting closer, because all the people who support him, it was like they're saying the same stuff all the time. But it was also like, like he's a cheerleader, getting people all excited and stuff. And he's got such a personality. So then people get all excited. It's like going to see a rock star or something. They all get so excited. And he brings such a positive energy. And so people feed off of that energy, and they don't even just feed off of it, they create it. And so, but it feeds you back, that energy, when you go into these groups, and everybody's so excited. Everybody is feeding off that energy. I bet you people are pumped for days off that energy. But that is the positive energy. That is the energy we're going towards. And that's what trips me out on these people who say that they're all like, oh, I'm this, I'm life coach, all this bullshit. I knew it was bullshit. And and I could hear, and there are the things, and I could like see it coming, because I knew they were blue, but I didn't know it was going to go this deep. Like, I started seeing it back when it had to do with these things and these things. And that's when I stopped listening to a lot of these people, because it was like, okay, this is wacky. And they were all so compliant, like it's to be a good person. And then there's so many, people who do tarot and stuff, and they're always on the pronouns and always on all that stuff. And I knew they were all very, leaning in a certain direction, because the other people who lean the other way, they're all church, and they're the ones who come and tell me all the time they're going to pray for me and Jesus loves me and all that stuff. Is like, so that's been my life, being over here, and there's all these over there. But now it's like two different groups, but they're different things. So anyways, the whatever it was, because I could see something, whatever it was, I could see it a while ago. But then it's like you don't know for sure how things are going to play out. You can see it coming, but it's like you don't know for sure how it's going to play out. Like, you don't see every detail. You can just like see. It's like seeing it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a movie poster that has a bunch of stills in it, and you can look at it and see a lot of different things about things that are going to occur. But it's not like, it's like you have to go into it more. And this may be what the what are those people called, not the travelers, there's the astral travelers, there's the lucid dreamers, there's the in all those different realms that you start being able to traverse. You have to, I think you got to like know your power, because you are going to be dealing with other beings and stuff that, like, you're in other realms, and you don't have your safety suit on or something. And if you don't know what the hell you are doing and stuff, like, I don't know, like I said before, I think they can trap you and shit. So then, the remote viewers. So I think the remote viewers, so like how I see it is like, sometimes it's like the movie like you see a whole bunch of things. Sometimes like I'll see things start playing out. That's where it's like super emotional, like those waves of emotion when you start seeing some of this stuff. But then I think like a remote viewer could go in, like see that, and then go into it, and then go into it deeper and go into it deeper. Because I've seen where some of these people are able to go into an office and get themselves into like a drawer and read a paper, and then report back, and then they can go and look and see the paper. And yeah, so yeah, that's skill, to be able to go in deeper and deeper. And that is kind of like where I talk about, like, where you tune in on your listening, and it could be internal, it could be external, but taking what it is you're trying to focus on and keep focusing on it, focusing on it. That is this conscious thing. And that is also where they try and catch you, like with the things, like to me with the eyes, or these these holes, like a black hole or something. And when you start questioning, you start getting pulled into it. And so it's and see, that's what I'm saying. If you didn't have then just pull you, and then hold you, trap your energy. And there is this realm around us like that, and that is where a lot of these people, these psychic people, that is where, or who they're talking to. And so there's tricksters. There's also, the ones that are supposed to be policing us, because that's supposedly the whole thing with the archangels, are the ones policing to keep us in this realm, in this bubble. So I don't know, who all these people are talking to and stuff, but they're not, it was weird. So because even Bashar, like, I mean, who the fuck is he talking to? So there's tons and tons of voices out there. I think most people's minds are full of a lot of different voices, and they don't know. Sometimes they take a familiar one, usually one that's beating them down, and they will replay it, or something that they're mad at themselves about or something. They'll replay it. But you have all these other voices that are going. And so it's like when you can tune in and listen to different ones, but see, you got to tune out from where you are focused and pull yourself out. And then when you can get out, and then I think for a lot of people, it starts seeming like a lot of noise and stuff. And I think that is where some of these people become like with diagnoses and stuff, because their mind is more open into into the universal consciousness, but then they it overwhelms them because they don't understand what it is, and they think that they just have too much noise in their head and they can't decipher through it. And I think that is like where some of these people who you think of like being autistic and stuff, I think they're in a party in their head. Like they just can't go between the two worlds. And some people get caught in all different areas of the two worlds. And so, because, especially if they're chemically assaulting this thing, it makes it harder to use to be able to communicate with, or to, like, do things, like move around and walk around and do things with. So it makes all of your movements and your thinking, everything harder. And so that is, I think a lot of the people are, a lot of the frustration that you see like with autistic kids and stuff like that is like because they want to communicate, but they don't know how. They don't know how to, it's like being stuck in, it's like being stuck in a box with a window, and then they want to communicate, but there's like a window in the way, and the people on the other side don't know what they're saying, and they just like, hey, but they're trying to say something, they're frustrated. It's kind of like ghosts, where ghosts, when they pass over the other side, and they've got a lot of issues still, like a lot of people get surrounded by ghosts. If you've got, like, if somebody dies and you had some kind of issue or something, then, like, Dickie comes around all the time. So you had some kind of thing, then that energy comes around you and tries to communicate. And I think that the ghost, because it still is in this realm, it's still in this vibration, so and we can't see it because it's like it doesn't have the same hold in this vibration. And so and it's trying to communicate, so it still feels frustration. It feels like frustrated. Like, I think that there's still like some ghosts or whatever, the spirits that haven't left, that are still very attached to the people or situations or places. It's all different things, but that they can, it's not like feel emotions, it's like remember them or something. It's like being bound by them or held by them. It's not because like they wouldn't be able to have the same thing of frustration, because frustration and stuff has to do with the chemicals and stuff and the chemical reaction in our body. But so they don't have that because they don't have the body, but they have the, it's like a, there keeps being so many weird noises outside. Yesterday, even Stella started barking at a plane. It was taking so long, and it was so loud. I've never seen her start barking at a plane. It's like, it's so weird. So anyways, whatever I was saying. Yeah, but I'm going to go backwards again, still back to, so leading up to the thing, there was lots of people, the energy is just really strange. And, oh yeah, what I was witnessing. So I was witnessing his building up and building up, and on hers, I was definitely witnessing that something was weird. Like all these people going and cheering for really weird shit. And I wasn't seeing the whole thing. I was still seeing just snippets. And whenever you see snippets, then you always lose context. But still, there was an underlying thing, and it definitely was. Most of her speeches was Trump is horrible. I've got to save you from him. And then she brought up so much about the 25 and how it's his, which is all lies. And he's even come out and said, it's like, these people are so trapped in a lie. It's so crazy. So, and like I said, the 25 was the distraction from the 30, but I can't even tell. I can't even believe how many grown-ass men I've seen going, and they're going to explain the 25 to you and what's going on here and what we're headed for. And it's like, Jesus Christ, this is so fucking mental. 25 is motherfucking made up. And 30 we are actually in. It's like, this is so weird. So, anyways, so going into the thing, oh yeah, so what I was witnessing was, that was off, but I was seeing where they kept saying, like, like, because she was getting more of these stadium kind of thing, but then they were showing all these buses, and it was still like, well, I mean, is she really filling up the thing and stuff? Is there really that many people? And she seemed to, like, be getting up her own ass about it, like, she was like, man, I'm getting popular here. So she seemed to me to be getting kind of crazier and cacklier. Like it was just like, wow. And so then, and all of our stuff was so much about hate him, be in fear. They're going to take all of your rights away. So they were building up on that, but it was also, they have keywords and stuff, and I'm not sure how it was being done, but they sparked this Handmaid's Tale. And when my daughters were watching that, because they kept watching it, I stopped watching it, I think, after the first season. And, but they kept watching it, and they kept telling me that this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen, and stuff. So however this thing works, to convince them that this is going to happen, because they're convinced this is going to happen, and the rest of us are stupid, and we're the ones letting it happen because we're so stupid. It's like, no, you guys are programmed. They are got mind control on you, and it's very spooky to watch. So so when it very first started, so I was seeing that things just seemed off. Like there was more people, there was a lot of hate, and that's why I was saying, like, I don't know how they're gonna do this. I don't know what's gonna go down. You would think that it's just going to be, they would just put him back in and take them out because they're just hitting us with the crime after crime. Like, I just can't even believe all this stuff on Tim and all of the stuff with these people. And it just, it's like this, it's constantly swept away. It's like announcement, and then it's like, okay, so we're not going to talk about it anymore. We just wanted you to know. And so there was so much on that where it was like, how is this going to play out? It have to go, they're going to have to cheat hard again. And then, but it's like, we already learned that, but then you're seeing all this stuff replay like Groundhog Day anyways. So it was like very confusing. It's like a tornado, and trying to read the energy of like, what the hell is going to happen? It's like, I don't know. You're just going to have to watch it play out and just be aware, however it plays out, is how it has to play out, to disclose and show things or whatever. But it's very deceit, because you can think you're going one direction, but you have to understand the energy. That's the switch, because we're going to go in this other direction, and he is going in that direction. So I knew that somewhere along the way it's going to switch over to him, no matter what they're going to play with this games over here with her. And so, and then when it just went so gentle into, it's like the least amount of drama possible. All the drama is coming from the people. And so then that is, it's kind of strange. It's kind of like, the switching in the energy, where all of a sudden, where I said, it's like, like all of a sudden the light came on and the sparkles. It's like all this stuff just starts playing out or something. Like all of a sudden, oh no, he's our new one and he's doing this. RFK's got all this shit going. Like they've got so much shit going already. They're just popping off. Got this, got that. Putin's talked to him, not for whatever, the guy over there in the reel. He's having all these serious talks already. Everybody's putting down their weapons because they have to for the BRICS. But so it's all a big show. But it's just like going, it's like, fuck, this is just moving, like going so smooth. But then, except for these other people who are trapped in this other reality that are losing their minds, that is, it's like, because it has been like a whole thing. Because at first, when I started seeing it, it was like, everything is going so smooth. And then you see that and it's like expected but unexpected. It's like, okay, well, if he was going to be winning, we knew one side was going to be really pissed off. And so, because it was so built up on this giant emotional, it's like it's to bring all this to the surface. And so so we knew somebody was going to be really pissed. And then so when I very first started seeing them, and the things that they were doing and saying, and first thing was my daughter in the morning telling me what she woke up to. I didn't wake up to anything, because I'm like the enemy. Like I'm sure I would not be surprised if they've just blocked me just because I'm too stupid. I'm a part of the problem, So hold on a sec. My throat was starting to feel like it was on fire. So anyways, but she woke up to all these, freaking out, being hands, being tail and stuff like that. I was like, oh, how weird. And so then I go on and I see, and it is like so many of these people losing their minds, just losing their minds, where it starts being like, these people, because you go through like this roller coaster of feeling sorry for them and then being also upset because they're so fucking rude. They're so hateful. They're so aggressive. They're so much like, they're going to come and take us all out or something. And I'm in this little blue, when I'm sitting there, they keep showing this map and stuff of all red, 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 red. And then I'm in this tiny little area that is blue. But I've been saying that for a long time. Like, yeah, very blue, very much asleep. And so that when these people are this angry and they're saying they're going to go out and create violence against all of the white women because we are such garbage, because we don't care about women's rights, like their rationale is so off the chain. It is creepy. And then, so when you go in and you listen to them, at first it was being like, oh my God, this is mental. Some of the craziest shit that I have heard. Wasn't just, Donald is going to let them go do a purge. I've heard so much crazy shit. So much crazy shit, and it's come out of grown-ass adult people's mouths. It's come out of people who are proud of their degrees. Like, you got all these people, because they have come out and said, now, is that they are the ones with all the intelligence. They are the ones with the college educations. They are the ones who have intelligence. The rest of us are all stupid idiots, and that we are uneducated. And man, you see this stuff flipping, it's just like, oh, this is so crazy. I had said that though a while ago. I said this is such a ego thing. And so they but they're putting that right out there. They think everybody else is stupid, they're the smart ones, and how in the hell did this happen? You had some start to realize, like, fuck, they were showing us like she was gonna win. They were really pumping us up and telling us they were gonna win. And so they're confused, because you have some now who are thinking like, we gotta look into this, like it's got to be he cheated. It's like, no, you guys just are like, man, it's so weird. It's so weird. because there's like all these different things. Like even when that starts playing out, I start seeing like there was some stuff with them with the cheating, with the playing it out. And I was like, so they're going to be going at it in this one direction, but all of a sudden they're going to see this other thing. And so that could be the rabbit trail. That could be, the breadcrumbs that are being laid, because we don't, if it doesn't affect you, you're not going to see it. So, and that's why you can only sit back in observation. You can't direct people. You can't reason with them at all. No, they are completely whacked out on programming and mind control, and they are in such deep fear. Like, it's no shit. Like, these people have lost they are so irrational. They have, this is mental illness on steroids, man. And then there is a thing, like, too, where most of these women are on some kind of blood-brain barrier crossing over drug. So that they really do have a emotional stability problem, just regular. That's why I said, like, I think we're seeing some of these people's indoor behavior outside, and it's weird how they're putting it so much on display, but it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, to them, they're feeding off of this, and that their pain and suffering shows and signals to the other ones how deep they're in this. We're in this together, and it gets real creepy. It gets real creepy. And so they've started with they were going to put on this because they needed to signify to each other that they were not any of us. They could not, they wanted to make sure there was no conservative women, that they're making eye contact and thinking, oh, hey, friend, you have to have the thing, which I'm thinking about, like, I don't know, like the Dr. Seuss with the letter thing, or what was the other one? The tattoo signifying who's the, it's so divisive. It's so much, we're separate from you. And that's why I said this energy that they're going in is not the energy, but it's an energy that has to be purged out. It's like they're doing God's work. They're definitely doing God's work. So, the bracelet, so they had to come up with something that they would all be able to wear and do. And the conversation got weird. It got weirder and weirder as the day went on. They've got a whole weird thing. They've started this 4B thing. So then you have all these different people's perspective talking about, because they're just spinning all this out publicly about the 4B. And it's like your hypocrisy or your ridiculousness is now being roasted by the general public, because their whole thing about this election was this wanting us all to go in the direction. They think it's about female body autonomy or something, but the rest of the rational world understands that this election, there's nothing about that. This woman just keeps bringing it up, but there's nothing about that. It's not something that's going to be fixed by her or anything. And to even be so misleading to think that you need there to go, there's just so much about it. It's just so irritating. But that's where you can't reason with them. They're stuck. They can't hear. They're stuck on a narrative, and they're only speaking to each other on a certain language. And so they're going to go on the 4B thing, which is they're not going to date, they're not going to have sex, they're not going to basically go internal and work on themselves. But not, but the way they're directing it, though, is very much to punish the world, because the world is fucked, and so fuck you guys. And it's getting so weird too, because then you got all these lesbians getting all involved with it, and oh, we're here for you, and oh, I'm so lucky now. I don't even have to mess with being the 4B. Like, this is so crazy. And so then you get all these people like, oh, so now you guys are going to go abstinent. So where you're fighting for the right to have this, now the solution is to go abstinent and to stop because now they're thinking more about birth control. It's like, well, maybe if you went in that direction to begin with, this is creating independence in them and they don't even realize it. So that's why I say, like, the things that are created, people don't realize, like, there's a good side. Like, you guys were completely dependent on the government being on your side when you had to just go out and figure out your cycle, take care of yourself, and stop spreading your goddamn legs for every fucking guy who wants in like a free pass. And then you stress out about like they've got their whole fucking set up, and it just is so dysfunctional. And so this is what, creates change, but it's just funny because the change that's being created is like they're trying to do something, but something else happens. They're trying to do something, but something else happens. Because then all these people are like, well, this is exactly what you should have been doing to begin with. And then you've got even worse because now it's like, oh, thank God, because we don't want any more of you people out here. So yeah, dry up that gene pool. You gotta close your legs. And then you've also got people who are saying mean stuff like, I don't think anybody wants your legs open anyway. Like, there's just so much stuff. Like I said before, everything will play out. In the different things that affect different people has to do with what they're affected by for whatever it is that they have to learn, because not everybody's affected by the same things. Not everybody goes through the same things. Not everybody sees the same things. So whatever you experience or see or be affected by, that's something that for you to learn or whatever from. And so seeing that and then seeing how they went, and then they all started shaving their heads, which to me, there's so many things about that too. Now they're all getting compared to Britney Spears meltdown, but I saw like a cancer girl come out, and she was like, I've got cancer. I do not, and she's bald as can be, and she's like, I am not a part of this. And so it's kind of like the girls who you guys are just throwing yours away. And then a lot of people were saying, are you guys even gathering up and sending it to the places? There's such a self-indulgence of selfishness and egomania that's happening, and that is the part that they're going to see in their mirror when they get this look. But it's almost like their reality has to play out. Like maybe some of it really will just shift and go away. Their reality will just continue to play out so that they can, because there's very valid things playing out. Like it's mental. And so in these conversations I've heard, not only is it just complete insanity and completely based on nothing that's real other than fear. There's nothing that all the things, their talking points aren't real, but they think they're real. So they're real to them. And so they're all panicking and freaking out. They all really, and there's some kind of, I don't know, AI or some group of hackers or somebody because it's these certain people, they are all of a sudden receiving all these texts. And the texts are saying, I guess the Hispanic people are getting ones, you're about to be deported. And the darker skinned people are getting ones that they're going to be picked up and taken to the cotton fields. So it's just like, it's absurd. It's so absurd. But this is these people's real reality. Like they're all talking about it. They got some more over here. They got these. Mine got one of these. Like they're all getting these texts and putting it all together. And it's like, this is probably AI fucking with you guys. There's no goddamn fucking Republican that is so excited to go. No, Republicans just want to fight for their fucking freedom. They just want to be able to go live on their farm and take care of their families and not have the fucking government up their ass. And you guys are the ones who keep wanting the government's up your ass. The rest of the people don't want it. And so but what I also saw playing out, so the gay guy, like all this gay femme, the trans. So it's like, where is the line too? So now you're offending the women who have to lose their hair, and you guys are making it as like some kind of a female radical statement. I mean, it's so weird because it's like these overly emotional people just all of a sudden leading the way. And the first woman who did it, it was so awkward. It was so strange. And she was doing all this stuff. She got something and she's trying to get her hair off and she was having all these problems. She even had to go to the store with her hair all jacked up to try and get another razor thing. She was having all these people saying stuff to her, but whatever, it started a whole trend. So all of the people started doing it and doing all this big ceremonies about it. Like, but it's all very radical. You know, they're taking on the man. And then on all these videos are just so many of these women are ready to just, you know, murder. They just keep making threats. They're irrational and crazy. And we've seen them losing their shit in places. They have no restraint. So, and now they're like creating a militia, like an army of angry women and yeah, angry, irrational women. And it got real weird too, is so these certain points, like you hear these conversations, and so the blue bracelet was not only to signify to one another who's a safe person to smile at or be friendly to, but also so the black women knew. They would know, hey, I'm not one of them. So in this conversation, I started seeing, oh, okay, so really you guys were mostly voting for her because it was time for a black woman to get to have a position of power. So that was the big movement, not just about that she was about your lady business, but she was also that proves that you're not a racist. That proves that you really care about other people because you want to make sure this black lady is going to be the first woman president. And so now, the apologies, they're going out, and they aren't one of us who took this power away from them. And they just want to give them a safe space to know it's okay to be you. Oh man, this is so weird. So, guys, that is so motherfucking racist right there. Like, trying to prove you're not racist makes you a racist. Because what are you even thinking about it for? You're thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. And then, you know, this woman needs your safe space in order to feel good for herself. Why can't she just feel good for herself? Why? Because she's dark-skinned? Like, so anyways, and we're all on our own journeys. Like, we're all on our own journeys to figure out how to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. So then, but where it got super weird was then there started being all these videos of these black women coming out pissed off at these ladies over this blue bracelet. And not just because, like, of what I just said. No, it's because, fuck you guys. You know, we're done. We're done with all white people. We're done with all you women. We're done with all you white women. We don't give a fuck about you. And we don't need your safe space. We are going in. We are going in. Like, the tribe is, you're out. We're a tribe. Fuck off. And so, it was like, oh my gosh. So then it was, everything was falling apart. Like but the militia women, they're still going, and they're still freaking out. And so by the afternoon, yesterday afternoon, I just was blocking. I was so sick and tired of they're coming for you. They're going, like, they're sitting here playing the victim, whining and crying because somebody sent them some rando number. Like, I get fucking rando shit texted me all the goddamn time. You just delete it. And but they're all really believe that, you know, some Trump apparently is going to put them all into fields and stuff. So anyways, all this crazy stuff that they believe is so real to them, and they're all having these overreactions. but it's completely unstable and unwarranted. It makes no sense. And so and so they're trying to protect the black women. The black women are, fuck you guys, we don't want your fucking bullshit. And so there was all this anger and stuff. So I started blocking, like, and then I was seeing some of these men with all their other great intelligence. They're the what are the academics, the smart people of our society, reading 25 to make sure the rest of us understand. It's like, dude, fucking 25 is made up, fucking heritage, and they start telling you it was made by this guy. He's already said, hey, that's not mine, I didn't make that shit up. And other places already said, no, we just put it out there as total propaganda. But these people just latch on and keep on talking. And this is where I said, like, their ego is going to show them, because they're so trapped in their ego trying to make sure all these people know it. And it's like, you are pushing propaganda. You're probably out there talking about people spreading misinformation, and here you are spreading it. That's how these things are going to keep turning. It's like everything they do is going to all of a sudden turn on them. And see, like, it's just so funny, like, where they want all these rights to go have these procedures, and then all of a sudden their response is the response they should have had to begin with. It's like, well, we want the right to sleep with whoever we want. And then the whole thing of them coming out, and it's like they weren't even, people haven't even been using protection. They're having these discussions on here. It's like their whole thing has been, Planned Parenthood, that's our thing. We just go sleep around mindlessly. And I don't know, I think some of these guys, what the guys are saying and stuff, I think it's clear that the guys are really tired of these crazy, dramatic relationships with some of these women. They're off, they're emotionally not prepared for a relationship. They're not prepared for much. They can't even have somebody get too close to them in line before they freak out. Their PTSD. It's like, what in the world? If you're in that point, you need to spend time in a facility. You need to spend time at least stay home. Like, in the world, especially in a town where you've got DoorDash and stuff, like, you would end up being like some agoraphobic person or whatever. Close yourself in, but that if you're not going to work on yourself and be able to go out and be around other people, you can't expect the whole world to shuffle for you. Everybody is out there. You got to be able to get in. Just like you got to be able to merge on the freeway. You got to be able to merge in life. You can't just expect everybody to stop on the freeway. Here she comes. Here she comes. Everybody, make sure she gets her way. It's like, no. We're all going here. We're all driving here. Like, get your shit together. If you can't merge, just stay home. So anyways, it was like a breakdown in our society. And even though we can see how much of it is like all this misleading and stuff, but there is like an essence of this reality being so intense and so real that it does have, it's in a trajectory. It has to play out. It may really go for a while. It may go for a while, like a long while. I don't know how long it's gonna go. I don't know how resistant these people are to the real reality. Like right now, they won't listen to anybody. I've seen video after video after video of people trying to tell them, there's nothing to be scared of. The stuff that you guys are saying isn't true. And trying to speak rationally, but no, their stuff just keeps going in this direction of insanity. I'm sure there's some that are falling away and they're looking at it as like, man, but there's always going to be that extreme energy that's going to keep going. And it's just so crazy because there's so many of these people, and it's all these people who think they're so educated and the rest of the people are so stupid. See, those are their biases. Once you start thinking other people aren't smart and they have no value, then you're missing out on what it is they're bringing to the table. And not everybody comes in this beautiful package. People come in all different types of packages. Just like, the whole thing with the Christmas thing. I mean, not just because it's a big giant box does that mean it's going to be the best present. Sometimes the best things come in the smallest packages. So the package can be very deceiving. So you can't just judge the package, but it's a big part of our society, is part of the big purge of our energy, is this very surface level part of our reality of the surface of people, like thinking like because somebody looks good that they must be a nice person, and that person who is doesn't look good, well, they're probably not a nice person, when typically it's flipped the other way. The person who doesn't look good is can be a really nice person, and the person who looks really good can be a really shallow, uh, needy, greedy, like it can be a lot of things. But then this other person, depending on their damage, because you can build yourself up and, be super charismatic, like I said, like that Aiden guy who you wouldn't think like was typically an attractive guy. Like you would, if he went into a room of GQ models, you wouldn't be like, oh, that guy over there, he's a good looking one. But he's like has all this personality. He's got like this charisma. And so that is the charisma, I think, is has value. It's like your energy, it's what you're putting out. And when somebody looks really good, sometimes they don't work much on themselves. And so they just rely on the surface, and then they become a person of not much depth. And so sometimes good looking people can be really shallow and not have much depth to them because they've just relied on, not having to have much depth. And then with people who aren't attractive, it depends on how much they get caught up in that. If they get caught up in like, I'm not good enough, or if they get more of the understanding of building themselves up, making themselves interesting, yeah, build that charisma, build up your energy, build up who you are, build up what you bring to the table, what makes you interesting, what are your skills, what are your talents, and that creates this brighter light. So yeah, that is where somebody who isn't typically attractive in our sense of geometrics, but that their shine is so bright that it is allure, it draws you in, it is engaging, it is attractive. Yeah, that is where, yeah, because it took me a long time, is what Dickie told me that a long time ago. He told me I was attractive. He was like, you're just so attractive. And I was like, well, what in the hell? Is like, why didn't you just tell me I'm pretty or something? What is that supposed to mean? Like, that was like the worst. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, attractive. What is that? Just like a step above ugly? What is he talking about? What's attractive mean? I was like devastated. and then and then all these years later, when you learn more about energy and attraction and stuff like that, and then I was like, oh, now I get what he was saying. There was just like a lure, there was an attraction, and that's the thing. It doesn't have really anything to do with what somebody looks like. It's like this attraction, like your spirit gets attracted. It's like your soul or something. So anyways, and there's people who have an attractive spirit that has and that's a vibration thing, and it's kind of like, people feeling really bad, and then somebody who's really happy walks in the room, and it makes the room feel better for a minute, and then the person leaves, and then the room goes back to sad again. So a lot of times there's people who um, can carry an energy that radiates out, but also that is also where that can radiate out and irritate people, where, oh, well, look at attention seeker, oh, everybody's always looking at her, I just, that happens too. So everything is all variables, and it's all whatever the person, whatever triggers them to feel is the stuff for them to get to work on and to see. So anyways, but as this stuff is playing out, it is showing such a crazy part of our society. Oh my God. And so much with the manipulation. And so creepy too, how they were able to get these people so on this 25 thing, and so on this Handmaid's Tale thing, to get them to be so trapped into this false reality And to think that this guy over here is the one who's bringing it in. So anyways, I was just blocking people, blocking people, blocking people. I was like, I just don't want to see this energy. I just don't, I mean, because my whole thing, and I know what was happening to all the people, and I don't know if it was really, is it more like the universe wanted us to see? Because it was like, how am I even in this algorithm? Like, how am I? Every fucking video is these people having these crazy ass meltdowns, shaving their head, screaming, they're gonna kill people. Like, this is crazy. And so I and then I would take a break. I would be like, and besides too, another thing I can't be on my phone much is I don't know if y'all's this phone, if you've noticed, like if you ever get on something, because TikTok, you have to sit and hold your phone and look and look and look and look. So you're holding your phone. And mine is shocking my hand. It's been doing it for a couple of months, but it just is getting worse and worse. Like they've turned up the radiation or something on the phone. It is so hard to hold. I have to keep switching it. I need to get one of those gloves or something that you can hold it, block the stuff. But I saw where somebody also wrapped their phone in tinfoil, and when he does that, it blocks everything. It turns your phone off. So I think if we use those too, I'm sure it blocks some of the stuff that our phones do. So if you do use one of those things, just be aware, because when that guy, it didn't just block the stuff from their phone, it turned their phone off. And somebody was texting while their phone was in the tinfoil, and they weren't getting any of the stuff. So it's I don't know. It was all this just was radiation and shit. But it's coming out of the phone, and it's like burns my hand, and I can feel it burn down into my leg or burn into my face or something. So I keep setting it down, but then I'll go back and I'll look again. And when I went back and looked again, and I was like, oh my God, these people just keep getting more and more crazy as they say the craziest shit that is so triggering. That is like, this is complete made up bullshit. And what was one? I've seen so many, I can't even remember them all. So many irrational crazy things. So then I was like, man, I can't, this is just pissing me off. It just is irritating. It's making me feel like I need to go in and say something, and you can't do anything about it. You gotta let these people go through their process, or whatever this energy is, it's got to play out. It's not like we can do anything or stop it. It's not like we can wake them up and make them see or something. They're going to have to see how they see. It's got to just play out how it's going to play out. And so, and then you got all these people on the blue side, the spiritual team, that keep perpetuating it or something. They keep saying, because I see these videos all fucking day long too, as you got some of the people like, how did they get it wrong? What is wrong? What is going on? And all of that. There's cheat, like there's so much crazy dog. And then but a bunch of them are now coming out and saying no, because it's not real. He's not really in. She's going to be in. There's going to be a transit where she's going to all of a sudden do this great thing that's going to and when I hear him saying, you know, that she's going to all of a sudden, this thing is going to change the world and stuff, all of a sudden that she does, I'm thinking it's going to be like you guys seeing the truth of her character or something. Like they're looking at it, it's so different than how I'm looking at it. And so, but you have this group still perpetuating this thing, you know, all is not lost. This is very temporary. Even that lady who wears the shroud, because she, I don't know her name, but she obviously has a lot of people who are really follow along with her. And a lot of these people, like when I'll go hear them, there's a lot of like a truth in some of the things, but then there starts being this anger and this controlling and stuff where it's always like, I don't know, puts me off. And so she is kind of fire and brimstone. And but on her too, it always kind of irritates me when people are always like they're talking directly to God or directly to Jesus. And it's like, I'm you're probably talking to a trickster if you think you're just standing there talking to God or something. There's not just a fucking one God up there. There's not just one. There's lots of gods. There's lots of things, lots of beings who are, I don't know, demigods or gods in any sense, that have gone and been gods to other beings and stuff. Like, there's lots of really advanced beings, but you don't have one singular God who's in charge of us all. The creation is an energy. It's like a big bang of energy that goes out, and the energy of us becoming, who and what am I, is this source, this connection to this energy that wants to understand itself, that unfolds itself to see itself. And so that is, it's not one singular guy that you're just talking to. You would be talking to the universal mind, which is like it's like I don't know, 'cause I see like a bunch of operators but a bunch of voices out there, in the old-fashioned operator, and she would stick that thing in, but there's like a lot of voices, and it's like, which one are you listening to? And so there's universal consciousness has a lot of information, and that's where, like, when you're doing something, you're like, oh man, how do you do this? I don't know how to do this. You can ask the universe. You can say, can somebody please show me how to do this? And then you use your mind and you look inside, and they will show you how to do it. And so that is where, you don't need Google or something. You just need to connect to the universal consciousness, because they will show you. And then you may think, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. That can't be real. Go try it and see. So, anyways, so you have the universal consciousness, you have your guides, which is, all your ancestors, all the ones that are attached to the whole thing playing out. Like, we're all attached. We all are in the same relay. And so you have them around, and they talk to you. Then you have your higher mind, your higher self. So your more advanced self, so the smarter side of you, that is trying to lure, but it's not like lure and about, it's trying to bring you to yourself. And so you have communication in there, and you have other spirits around too that are purposeful, like tricksters and stuff like that, that are purposeful about trying to communicate. And so there's a lot. You have a lot to decipher from. And that's what blew my mind too, when there was just this, like, where it started first being the awakening, how many people would wake up, their soul would all of a sudden wake up and they'd be like, whoa, I have a soul, man. And then, but how much they all went directly into, like, everybody was psychic, everybody, and so, because I've been talking to this other side for so long, that I knew that there is a lot of different people to talk to out there. And so, and you have to really use your discernment. You have to really read the energy. And so, the way they were all just jumping on board and stuff, I was like, I don't think they're all talking to who they think they're talking to. And there is a lot of trickster spirits. And so even when you think about somebody like Bashar, he's talking to some spirit that, like, I don't know, because there's this whole thing about trying to direct us. And that is this, it's like an interference in the game. And so, and they will sprinkle in truth with the misleading. That's also how Cammy's thing was being run. So, I don't know. I mean, everybody's got to find their own truth. I mean, I could be seeing stuff where, somebody's like, well, I don't know who the hell she's talking to. I don't know. To me, it is, who I've been talking to has been about, basically trying to direct me towards the light, because that was when it very first started, was trying to but they're just not pushy, but it's like you always know they're there. It's like a communication. So I've just spent a lot of time communicating with them, like it just is a part of my thing. And so you see things play out, you learn things, you get told things, you see things, like you develop trust and an understanding, and that is along the way where you can start noticing like the different energy, like the information, like a lot of the stuff that these people, what I could see was it was feeding into their egos. And so if it's feeding into their ego, that is a darker energy. And so that's where they all were going into this, like they're all life coaches, they're all, they're all going to direct everybody else into, but see, that's an energy that's got to play out because, I mean, I could see it all, the ego, the people not learning to trust themselves, to be dependent on somebody else's, and there's just all these different things that have to keep playing out, and all these different souls and spirits playing out different roles or different energies is like a way to express them or a way to release them, purge them out of society, or take that reality in a different direction. And I don't know, to me it seems like like all these people are not going to just go off and split off and become like the new earth and just a bunch of angry ladies or something. I think how it's, and the men and stuff, like the whole thing is so weird, and how much they all kind of look alike. And well, I'll tell you another thing that was just, this is how weird it is too, is so I had said something, I've said a lot of things, I've been ranting on TikTok, but so I had said something, I don't remember what it was, but this person comes in and tells me I'm too old to have any say over it. If I can't have babies still, then shut the fuck up. And so then I told him, that's ageism, by the way. And I guess you haven't also not seen how many 60 and 70 and 50-year-olds, like there's there's a bunch of 50 and 60-year-olds pregnant right now all over the internet showing it. And but there's a 70-year-old, I think, too, as somebody was talking about. So anyways, it's going way past what, because this is going to be pushing us in these new ways outside of the box, where we thought, oh no, people just have babies back then. No, we're not. This whole aging thing is different, and we're going to see it play out in this unfolding. And so so this person tells me, I have no right to say anything because I'm too old, and if I can't have kids anymore. So that was my response to them. And then but then when I go in and I watch or see all these videos, there is so fucking many of these little old gray-haired ladies, and so many of these, I don't know, more of the masculine older women, so many of them out there doing all this shit, saying all this shit, all angry, and they're so finished with all the, it's the same shit. So, okay, so if you're on their side, all ages, you can be any age, and you can, I don't know, I don't know, this whole thing, we'll see how it plays out with the gay support, the femme gay support, the trans and stuff, because they're very much trying to isolate in on themselves, just like all these black women are trying to be like, and it's not all black women, there's a whole bunch that support Trump, they're all excited, and so it's just this really angry group of women where all this anger comes from all of this unhealed trauma. So that is what needs to keep purging up. And obviously there's times throughout history where women didn't have a say in stuff, and they probably did live through those times, and it's to bring them full circle so that they can get in and see, to see that now they do have rights and stuff. Because that's one thing too, that some of these girls in other countries are getting really pissed listening to these ones whine and cry, screaming about they don't have any rights now, when these other people really do live in places where they don't have any rights. and they look at America as being so free and having all these rights because we can walk down the street, we can go in a grocery store, we don't have to be escorted by a man, we don't have to cover our heads and stuff. And these women are acting like they're the victim because they're so stuck in this victim mentality, and it's pissing off these other women. So but all of these things, remember, is to all get us to see it from all these perspectives. And all these perspectives is to align you into your moral compass. And all these perspectives is the shifting of the mirrors, the funhouse mirrors, all the reality shifting to turn into this big circle. And that once it gets to the big circle, once all of these mirrors are facing in, that's when everybody's going to start seeing themselves. Then right now it still is this setting up. It still is like they're creating this side of themselves that they haven't seen yet, but they're busy creating it. So then when all of a sudden the mirrors are turned in and the light shifts and everybody sees themselves, they're going to see this very in-depth character. And one of the things too, this is the part where I don't know how, so because it had to do with this shift in perspective over being the good guy and the bad guy, because right now how they think of you know, like you have these women out here who are screaming victim, 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 as they are making plans to go out and attack women who aren't the same as them. So it is you know, it's ludicrous, but it is like this shift in the good guy bad guy. So they feel valid in what they're doing, but they don't realize like they're the bad guy because they have riding on this ego of thinking that they're the good guy, because these dark entities or whatever that feed into that energy of you know, you're doing the right thing and stuff like that. And but the dark energy is attached through the vibration, and that is why you can see like all these people are in super low vibration and they all are in the same vibration feeding off of each other, but it's a low vibration where this stuff exists. And so they but for the souls that they have to be in that vibration to release that stuff, and that stuff has to be promoted or pushed to the surface by society. So this is all playing out exactly the way it's supposed to play out, but it's still like, for those of us who's like, man, what's gonna happen next, what's gonna be next, like, fuck. I think it's really weird too, because now all of a sudden they're saying everything is so much better all of a sudden just because Donald, like now the stock market's blasting off, and the all peace on earth, all these guys are ready to sign their names to peace on earth. And he's making talks and all this stuff. Joe's come out, oh yeah, we're gonna have a good transition. He's just out there being just like, yeah, everything's great, yeah, we're gonna have a good transition. No mention of, you know, just sending this 600 bees over there to the crane, when the Z and Vladimir just had the talk of like, oh yeah, I'm good, you good, we're all good. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, you're not good, here, take this money, save it for me, I'll be over here in a minute. So it was you know, this cyst and this laundry thing, it still seems like that they would crash the economy under this situation, because right there, that just seems like a kind of a sign, you know, as soon as they say that, then he's sends this money over there. So it seems like, okay, so they're going to make it real obvious that he's laundering and stuff. So they're going to do that. So if I would think still that they're going to try and crash this money thing under him. And there can still be a lot of stuff that's going to go down over the next few weeks, because he's already doing all this work, but he really is the real guy. It's like, but all these broken minds just haven't seen it yet. And even, oh, this was, oh yeah, this is how irrational. So there's all tons of videos coming up showing the numbers over how many people did this year and how many people did this year, and it's very consistent how many people came out every year. But suddenly last one, and Joe's, that there was 20 million extra people, 20 million extra people that just all of a sudden showed up. And those of us who listened to any of the stuff about all the cheating and all that stuff, we already know about all this bullshit. But so it's coming to the surface, where the truth is out there. But what they have done, this group, the angry group, they have taken those numbers and said, that's proof right there. Men hate black women. They came out for Joe. They came out in droves for Joe. But now they won't come out for a black woman. This is so weird how they are so in this. And the huge drive, too, to just have the first female president. It doesn't matter if she knows what the fuck she's doing. As long as she's fucking the first female president and I voted her in, then everything's fucking primo. It's like, this is so crazy. You don't give a shit about, and even when you try and say anything about all of the things he's gonna do, as I had said something about, like, you guys are all worrying about your female reproductive rights, that there's not any concern about it. It's so weird because when it's at the state level, it's so much easier for you to handle than it is at the federal level. But these people are just so irrational. But, and I said something about, but Social Security is supposed to be like tripling, so I'm pretty excited. And, all these people, it was so many bots. I went on and looked, but there was still some people, but we're saying like, no, he's cutting it. He's going to cut Social Security. He's going to kick people off of it. And all that. And one person was like, where do you get that? And I said something about, go look up Nisar Gazar. And they said, oh, okay, goodbye, kill. I was like, I don't know what he says about this. I just know, I listen to like, I've got it, my own perspective. Like, I don't know what that is about that. But I know that we are going, and this is another thing too, even where Donald has even talked about the golden age. We're going into the golden age. The golden age has to do with the golden era, the time of peace, abundance, like all the things that he's driving, all of the things that he's bringing, all the stuff that he's talking about. This other person is, and then you got the spiritual ones saying like, no, she's going to break us through to the other side of what? Of what? Like, you guys, I swear to God, they do not know how to read energy. They are like, they really do need to pack it in and shut the fuck up. But, but all this stuff has to play out. I'm sure there's been, so many fake mystics and stuff throughout history. So there's, this energy's got to play out. These people, that they are the fake mystics and stuff. They are the ones that are misleading people because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That just right there to me shows so much. When you keep up, we're going into the age of Aquarius, and this energy is full speed ahead on one side, and the other side, it is nothing of age of Aquarius, not one goddamn thing. And you keep thinking that's the direction we're going. Like, to the point where it was, I was like, okay, so maybe they're going that way. Maybe this is the split. They're going in that direction. The age of Aquarius does not exist for them. That she is the answer to wherever it is they're going. I don't know. Because to me, it seems like she doesn't really want anything to do with it. Besides, it's a person in a mask. And all this has to be revealed or unveiled. So, there's a lot of things that still have to play out, and any of those things can all of a sudden wake these people up and put them into the next level, into the next step of the awakening, that have to really face the real reality, because it's prickling at them right now. They're confused. How was the media telling them that she was going to win? Why did they think they had this so dead set? And now they're all discussing about cheating, and it's just so funny, they're discussing about cheating when it was like, this whole thing has been cheating. Like, but you guys are just now starting to think about it, look at it. So, but that's where things flip to the other way. But with all the energy that's going and stuff, like at any time, this stuff can flip. And then the Hopis had said that, it seems like it goes in with what Cliff Hyde was saying too about the this first contact thing, and it can be real close. Like whatever's going to go down, I still think that we're really close to a lot of this stuff changing. But it seems like some of it is going to be less dramatic than it seemed. Like it's super dramatic for some people, but when it's super dramatic for some people, it's like some of us don't feel anything. It's just like we're just watching. We're just watching you guys lose your fucking minds. But that is where I did have to just, I was going and blocking and blocking and blocking, because I was just, I don't want this energy. I don't want to go in and keep seeing this stuff and it making me mad. And then besides the fact that so many of them, they're like, they want everybody to block them. They're like, if you are that, block me and no, they always say unfollow me. It's like, well, I'm not following you, but I'm blocking you. And how many of them are, they've spent the whole day going on and like blocking their grandmothers, blocking their parents, blocking their siblings. Like they're completely isolating and going crazy. But this is, something that I had said before that I had noticed with this Western psychology, mental health, is about this isolation. Don't deal with things, hide from things, cut everybody out of your life that doesn't agree with you. It's very toxic. It's very much going in the opposite direction of spiritual growth. And this period of time is about spiritual growth. And so you want to go more into going deeper into things and looking into things in a deeper way, and not just, there's so much of this stuff that has been happening that people have been overlooking. Like they've been all looking in the wrong direction. They've been all focusing on the government and Trump saving them, or they've been all focused on being sick and trying to find a doctor to save them. Like they're all in these different areas instead of going towards the awakening and working on themselves and becoming more, I don't know, it's more connected, more to this other version of yourself. And so there's been all this energy that has been going for a while to help people with that, but they've all been using all their time to stare or look at or to focus on what drives them, and it's their fears. And as why I said, I've said this for so long, is I just kept noticing that people just get stuck in this awakening. They get stuck and trapped in something that scares them. And so the universe or the beings or whatever, there's going to be a kick. There's going to be a like shove of because people are too resistant. They hold themselves back. They don't want to do something that's hard or challenging. They'd rather play it safe. But you learn and grow from the things that are hard and challenging. So the universe is going to kind of give people that awareness to show them, like, yeah, things can go real bad and it hurts for a second, but then look at how things clean up. Look how much better things get when you clean it up. So that is kind of like where the universe is kind of to, I don't know, to get you to be comfortable, to quit fearing crisis, to quit fearing everything, to just let things go, to see your own power of being able to fix things and clean things up and not feel like everything's going to fall apart. Because that is kind of like that's the PTSD in life of our trauma, is we have to hold on to things and become controlling because everything's going to fall apart. And so this is where the universe is going to let things fall apart so that you can see, like, it's fine. There's nothing for you to worry about. You're just panicking and wasting your time. So there's going to be a lot of people are going to see. They're going to have a shift in their consciousness of what they did over the last couple years with their time. And so there's going to be so much just going to be shifting over just constant. There's going to be constant shifting at this point of people's perspective. And don't get all hung up. Like if you're looking at something one day and you go totally like, that's it. And then all of a sudden the next day you see something different. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, now I look at it totally different. That's totally normal. That's totally that's engaging into the transition. So don't beat yourself up like you're shifty or something. You need to be being shifty through this. You need to not be stuck. You need to be available to be able to to acknowledge or rationalize all these different perspectives, because that is going to give you the expansion that you're looking for. And so, it's important to just be really focusing on taking care of yourself and your perspective of being open, not limiting it, not cutting people out of your life, listening to them. That's what I have talked about so much, about these biases and stuff. Keep people from listening to each other, and your knowledge and your expansion comes from listening to other people and seeing and understanding what they're going through. And at this point, we can just witness and see this is real. Like, this isn't like they're not making this up. They're really trapped in this weird reality that was created for them, and it is so much based on this fear of if you haven't watched Handmaid's Tale, it is it's like the society becomes like, on the part where I saw, it's kind of like the women, they destroy the women's health and stuff, and but men want to keep having babies, but women are used like concubine or something, and women who are still fertile, they are used and abused. And then the rich women who can't have kids, they use them as like slaves and stuff. So it's and so this is what they think is going to happen. And this elitist Trump and all of us weirdo people, that we are trying to be that, and they are the resilience or the resistance. It's they're shaving their heads because they don't want to be attractive. They don't want anybody to look at them like they're attractive, because they don't want to be the concubine or whatever. So there's just so much mental derangement. It's the Trump derangement syndrome. So it's, they're going to have to bring, it's like, in order to really help these people, it's like they almost need to have somebody, a deprogrammer, somebody who comes out from a cult, like when people leave a cult and they have a deprogrammer come in to help them unprogram, because their programs are running so deep, and they're actively running programs. So there has to be something to help them shut it off, but they're feeding off of each other. So all their energy just keeps building, propelling this forward. So we'll see how it keeps playing out. Hopefully it will keep, will kind of start to fizzle out. It's going to be, but see, as soon as it starts to fizzle, that's when they have to face their choices. Like, oh my God, I shaved my head and now I'm, so it's almost like they have to perpetuate it to make it more extreme, to make sure that their victim representation is well represented. So it's not going to be like, I mean, I wouldn't think, but we are having, it seems to be going towards the magic, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, I thought about it last night. Now it's like, oh, man, I think I went a little crazy. Like, I think it's going to drag out longer than that, but we'll see. But anyways, all these people have to start seeing like they're isolating away. And then their whole thing with the black women, like, I don't understand it. Like, their guilt or something. And if you're carrying this guilt around black people, then maybe you feel like you did something wrong. Like maybe you worked with one time and you were mean and you laughed at a joke, and now years later you feel so guilty about it, that in all this racism stuff gets brought up so much, that now you feel like, you're a part of the problem or something, and you want to go in and make amends or something. It's like, like a person who's been cheating on their spouse, and then they want to tell them because they want to get rid of the guilt. So then the spouse, has all this new information, and it's like, I was living perfectly happy without knowing this. Now you've pushed me into having to make decisions. And I bet, I'm glad you don't feel guilty anymore. So it's kind of like a shift of, here, you take it. I don't want to deal with it. And because it's like, it's irrational. It's crazy. And I don't feel like I've ever had any bad relationship with a dark-skinned person. So I don't feel like and I've had a lot of interaction, like, because, half my school was for junior high and high school. So, and I also have had jobs where I worked with people who are dark skinned. So I've always had good relationships with people of different ethnicities and stuff. So I don't carry that guilt. I don't feel like, I owe you something. I'm way more of a like, I'm a real person. Like if we have a relationship, I'm a real person. I would be regular. I'm not trying to force. I'm not gonna run around like, oh, there's a black person. I gotta go be friends with him just to prove I'm a caring person. And that's what it seems like is going on. So it's like it's very strange and whatever, it's kind of breaking apart, whatever it is. So there's going to be so much more breakdown, 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 and that's going to cause more breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. And so, and if if that's really true, 2,700 people already, like, look, they may just kill all themselves off before they even start their healing. Like, but don't forget if they do that maybe they go to Venus, maybe they're all from Venus and they're just coming to, I don't know. Like, we'll just have to see. I think there's going to be so much more that we're going to know, though, and I think it's going to be so much more we're going to know soon. And I think that there's going to be, especially when the time of seeing, the time of reflection, because that is when people are going to see people very opposite than how they looked at them. Like if you like the people who they think they're so smart, and people think, oh, the people with all the papers hanging on their walls in frames, they're the smart ones, they understand things, and they're the educated ones and stuff like that. But when things flip, it's going to show that they aren't at all. Common sense, thinking for yourself, being rational, paying attention, being observant, and then deciphering through which direction to go and stuff. That's what creates intelligence. This other thing, that just because you can spout off something out of a book doesn't make you intelligent. It just makes you be able to say something that you read. So anyways, there will be this changing of our perspective of seeing things, and it's the people who carry that energy. See, when all of a sudden they see themselves, it's going to be a strike hard. It's going to be a hit hard, and that's where we're going to really go into this deep soul cleansing. Like right now, it's like building it. It's like the party beforehand, and then there's going to be a mess after the party. That's when we'll know we're at the cleanup part where people are having to really face themselves. And I don't know, if it's going to be super dramatic. Like I would think like the money would crash. That's going to cause all these people to go into more crisis and question things more. And the more that you dive in, the more you question, the more you try and understand, the more they're going to see the truth. And the truth is opposite of what they think. And so, and and I don't know, like to me, this other group is going to, like I said before, like they're all waiting on the rapture, and then all of a sudden, we're going into this really abundant time, freedom, all of this heaven on earth. So what's up with the rapture? Where are you going? When are you going? Are you leaving? What's happening? So the questioning their reality, getting them to think things through more too. So it's what everything is going to be about. I can't go through and say with every single group and every single person, because it's going to be very vast and very variable. And so it's going to be a lot going on. There's definitely going to continue to be a lot going on. We're going to keep going through shifts, and we're going to keep getting more shown to us and awaken more. And it is going to keep, a lot of overload. But that is when to recognize when you get an overload, to just take time to yourself, to start getting into monitoring yourself and caring about yourself. You don't have to, it's more like watching the news and then knowing when it's too much and turning it off. Like all this stuff that is happening in the world, you can still say, okay, I've seen enough for the day. I'm going to turn it off and let it go. You can't go out. You're no superhero. You can't go out and save the world. There's nothing you can do. Oh, and there was this guy. So there's this video, this guy, he's hunky. Like this guy is very hunky. And he was doing this video, and he was talking about that he was Space Force. He's a commander on Space Force. And then in this other administration, they did some shenanigans or something. And I don't remember all the stuff he was saying. But then now Donald is coming in now. He's made him the head over something. So there's gonna be more and more with this Space Force. But this guy that they have in there, like even when he was standing by Donald Trump, like unless it was like this guy's giant, like a 6'5", like he looks like a superhero. I'm not even kidding you. It's like these sparkling, beautiful eyes and this big, looks like something out of the Avengers, like one of the real Avengers or something. So I don't know, maybe the Avengers were weird, kind of creepy people. I don't know, but he looks like some kind of a superhero, like Superman or something. But for him, but now, this is going to be a lot more serious on this uh, galactic kind of the Space Force and stuff. And then, yeah, if he's any representation, like our Space Force is like fucking Vikings or something. I don't know. These handsome Vikings going out like this is our representation. It's like, oh, that's good. That's good. It's a lot better than some of the like. This is well representative, I think, of what we would like to put out there into the galaxy. So, anyways, there's just going to keep being more and more. It's going to keep coming faster and faster and faster, and just keep. I want to say hold on, because really you got to be letting go. You got to be letting go of things, and just going with the flow as we move towards this other thing, and just trust. You got to lay back and trust is that this direction. And I'm not just saying, oh, just trust Donald and stuff like that. I'm saying find the energy that you believe is moving towards the direction that you feel. For me, it has to do with unity, community, love, independence. All of those kinds of things are what I'm here about. And so I'm following in that direction. And just like RFK, he's bringing in all of these changes on the health stuff that we've been begging for years. And so we want these things to be happening, and we have somebody coming in and doing it. I think Tulsi, she's out there, Elon, they're all out there. They're all going to be bringing in certain information. And it's not just the transition to get them in the way. It's the transitioning human mind, human consciousness. It's to transition us into awareness or something, to talk about things. And that's why it's just coming fast, which them coming in fast makes me feel like that this other thing, this galactic thing is coming in fast, which, again, if Cliff Hyde is right, then if it's 39 days after the Rogan interview, then that means, it's getting closer and closer. So anyways, I just say don't be in fear and don't be worried. And this is a lot to go through and to watch, because it is sad. It's very sad. You want to go in and try and talk to them, make sense to them, and be like, you guys, it's okay. And then they just keep going more extreme, and then they are so mad, and then they're so threatening and so divisive. So anyways, they've got to purge all this energy out of themselves and get themselves into a rational state of mind and stuff. And when I keep telling you, like, you are listening to propaganda. Like when people say something on my comments, it's like, you got to go listen to the real thing, because people arguing with me about Social Security. And it's like, from what I understand, Social Security is supposed to like triple. It's going to go up a lot. And I can't go through and say all the different things. I am sure that I've heard him talk about that there's going to be huge changes in Social Security and for people in retirement and stuff, because it also has to do with what these people have gone through. It's like reparations. So there's going to be money that is going like in the Nisarga thing, they've said like there's going to be like 100% payout for people. I think it's above 50. It might be above 40, but I think it's above 50. I think where they're going to get them on the other ones is in the education thing. And that's, oh yeah, because that's another thing these people are in fear of, that the education system is going to be destroyed because they want us all so stupid or whatever. It's like, no, the education system is going to be destroyed because it's corrupt. And then, and that's why Donald is going to be giving money to the families, because it's to build the families back up and to get people back. It's to create this shift. Like, he's taking this shift in this other direction that we're going. And so it's a good thing for the schools to be taken apart. And then the teachers, they don't need to stress. That's going to make you a free agent. It's like, start putting it out there as being a tutors and stuff, being an independent teacher. That's how teachers used to make it. They used to go get hired by certain communities, and then you have a really small class and you have all these parents paying you to teach their kids. And it can be just certain things, like you have the kids, I think in the old schoolhouses and stuff, where the teacher would come and the town would hire some teacher, and she would come and she would have the kids for a couple of hours a day, teaching them how to read and write. They didn't have all the other fill-in bullshit. So the lives of the teachers will get much better, but at the time it's going to feel like everything is falling apart. But for people who really want to be a part of education for kids and feel like they really have a lot of knowledge and stuff, there will be jobs for that. And that's where, you build up your skills and stuff. So those jobs will be, but there's going to totally be a dismantling of the education system. And I think that is where they're going to start giving money is an incentive to keep people at home with their kids. Because you already have a whole bunch of people who are all on for this homeschool thing. They're ready, so many people are ready to quit their jobs and just stay home and teach their kids. And that's what they want to do. That's what they want to get. And then there's going to be, new kind of opportunities that are going to be coming up and stuff. Like, we're going to really go in a much better direction. That's all I can say. Things are going to just keep getting better. But, it's quite obvious it's not better for everybody. This is the split. This is, and it's a hard watch, just like I knew it would be. And I definitely have a huge amount of people in my family, just like we all do. I think, there's some families that are heavy and conservative families, and they're not going through that. But there's a lot of us that have a lot of people who are liberal or progressive. There's a lot of families that have got both. And so there's a lot of us that are having this big split. And so anyways, we just got to keep on going with the flow, keep on working on it, be open. If these people want to keep kicking everybody out from them, it's like, well, they need to do this. They need to go be celibate. They need to go internal. They need to go sit with themselves. But their energy is going to, hopefully it's going to kind of drain itself out. It's so intense. And then once they find themselves, because a lot of the people too, I was blocking when I would go and I would see, a lot of them had like 30 followers, 200 followers. There was definitely some that had in the millions and in the hundreds of thousands. So there was some that are very much leading, just like this Marianne Williamson. She's out there leading the way in this mental crazy, just so weird because, the other reality I was in, she was super spiritual. And this one, she's like, I don't know, not spiritual, very three-dimensional. So, anyways, because it's the three-dimensional that's the misleading. The spirit, is what's trying to get you to listen. So anyways, when you're trying to listen and you're trying to do better, remember what you're doing here is learning how to love yourself, to love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So let's work on it today, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.